Today we're going to try 4 different varieties of Subway cookies. These are the 4 that they have available right now. And we're going to see how they stack up in the cookie game. We've got Oatmeal Raisin, Raspberry Cheesecake, Chocolate Chip, and Macadamia Nut. First on the list, the standard chocolate chip cookie, which I've been told is very good, so I've got high standards for this one. I'm trying to think about the place in the hierarchy of like fast food chocolate chip cookies that I've tried before. Is it better than McDonald's? Yes. Is it better than Burger King's cookies? Yes. Is it better than Jersey Mike's cookies? No. I still think Jersey Mike's is on top with the best chocolate chip cookie in the game. Then we get to Popeyes, their chocolate chip cookie that they released recently. They feel very similar. I'm not sure which one I would rate higher. The only problem I have with this cookie is the way it's been baked, and that could just be I got an old cookie, but it's just a little bit more crunchy on the ends. Like it's a crunchy on the end, soft in the middle cookie, and I like, a soft all the way through cookie personally. But it could just be that I got one that's a couple hours old or something, so I don't know if that's the way it's supposed to be baked, or if it's supposed to be soft all the way through, or if it was fresher it'd be better. But I kind of want to put Popeyes maybe a little bit ahead of this one, even though I think the taste of this one might be a little better than Popeyes. The packaging and the consistent softness of the Popeyes cookie might put it a little bit ahead, but they're both fairly even. So with that said, I gave the Popeyes a 3, so I'd give this a 3 also. It's a solid cookie, but not blown away, and I still think Jersey Mike's reigns supreme with their chocolate chunk cookie. Next up, we have Oatmeal Raisin, one of my personal favorite cookies. Not many places have Oatmeal Raisin cookies, so I'm hoping that this is good because I love an Oatmeal Raisin. Before we get too deep into this, I suppose I should mention the price. I'm in Texas, so these are Texas prices. These cookies were 79 cents each. So in terms of value, really, as long as they taste good, they're solid value, because 79 cents, it's hard to beat, even though they aren't like big cookies. It's just 79 cents. So when you're discussing these cookies ratings, or when I'm discussing these cookies ratings, the price really isn't coming into it, because they're all 79 cents and they're all cheap. Oatmeal Raisin. Now this was also crunchy on the edge, crunchy around the edge and soft in the middle, but not as bad as the chocolate chip cookie. The chocolate chip cookie was more the crunch went further into the circle, if that makes sense. The soft middle was not as big, even though the cookies are the same size. Whereas this, just the very edge was crispy and the rest was soft and amazing. I think this is a great Oatmeal Raisin cookie. I would definitely get this one again. Like, if I was coming to Subway and getting cookies, I probably wouldn't get the chocolate chip again, maybe. But I would definitely get an Oatmeal Raisin cookie, because a good Oatmeal Raisin cookie is hard to find, and this one is good. The raisins are nice sized, they're juicy. The oatmeal flavor of the cookie is good. Everything about it, solid. I'm gonna go with a 5. It would be hard to beat this. The only way they would beat it is if they changed their baking method to make it not crispy on the outside, but that's just a personal preference. Some people might really enjoy the crispy edge. I'd prefer it to be soft throughout, but otherwise the flavor is spot on. So 5 for the Oatmeal Raisin cookie. Next, we're gonna do the white chip macadamia nut. I generally like macadamia nuts. I used to buy chocolate dipped macadamia nuts, like the cans. I really liked them. Haven't had a macadamia nut cookie in a long time, so let's just get a bite with a nice nut in it, and then we'll see how it rates. Not quite as high on this cookie as I was on the others. It's okay. Really, the white chip is what's bringing it down. The white chocolate chips are way too overly sweet. They taste artificially sweet, not like a regular, semi-sweet chocolate chip. They taste like powdered sugar in a bad way. Macadamia nut, fine, not enough of them. It's hard to tell when you're looking at it what's the white chocolate chip part and what's the macadamia nut, but when you eat it, you notice that's all white chocolate chips, not much macadamia nut, which makes the cookie overly sweet. There's not enough macadamia nut to balance it out, which if there was, maybe this would be a different story. But with those white chocolate chips, it makes it like an overly sweet kind of a mess. I don't like it. I'll give it a 2. If there was a better ratio of nuts to white chocolate chips, or even just get rid of the white chocolate chips, it would probably be a better cookie by far. So White chip macadamia nut, don't recommend. Lastly, we've got raspberry cheesecake, which I think has, I'm not sure if these are the same white chips or if we're getting a different flavor. We'll find out. All right, here we go, raspberry cheesecake. Let's get a good bite. This raspberry cheesecake cookie is pretty much almost as good as it could be based on the name. It's great. It does taste like a cookie mixed with a cheesecake, which is surprising. So the white bits are definitely not the same white chocolate chips. They have a cheesecake flavor, which is very interesting. The raspberry flavor is good. And the only complaint I'd really have about this cookie is that there's not enough raspberry. I'd like a little bit more. It's a little more subtle. It tastes more like cheesecake cookie than raspberry. I'd like a little more raspberry in there. But that's the only complaint I'd really have about it. This may be a bit harsh, but for me, it does bring it down from a 5 to a 4. So I do think that the flavor is there. And there's something to be said about novelty. That while there's a lot that can be said about perfecting a cookie like the Oatmeal Raisin, which this one, the Oatmeal Raisin, was pretty close to perfect. There's a lot to be said about novelty to me personally. And I've never had a raspberry cheesecake cookie. So having a new experience really does raise it up. But I don't want to give it a 5 because I don't think that it's perfect or even close to perfect, but I do think that it's very, very good, and it does pretty much nail what the flavor is called. It does taste like a raspberry cheesecake, just not enough raspberry for me personally. So we'll give it a 4. And with that, that's all the cookies done. We've gone through the spectrum. I didn't intend for this to happen, but we have a 2, a 3, a 4, and a 5. So that's white chip macadamia nut with a 2. Don't buy it. The chocolate chip cookie with a 3. It's a solid chocolate chip cookie. If you want a chocolate chip cookie, you know, it's a good choice, but I'm not blown away. Raspberry cheesecake with a 4. Great novelty. Tastes like what it says, just a little bit short on the raspberry flavor. And Oatmeal Raisin, surprise contender with a 5 out of 5. One of my favorite cookies, done extremely well. I can only nitpick about it. Otherwise, the flavor is on point. It's a great cookie. I'll buy it again next time I come to Subway for sure. I've been ignoring the Subway cookies for a long time. I don't go to Subway all the time, but when I do, I'd never have gotten a cookie before. Next time I won't ignore it. If they have a new limited flavor or something, I'll definitely try it. But Oatmeal Raisin, that's going to be my number 1, and maybe yours too. See you next time.